Hi, friends. This is a quick follow-up to the writing voice exercise on listening. So this month I asked you to read aloud passages from books that you have or authors that you admire. But I'd like to give you a demonstration of the kinds of things that you might notice and pull from that kind of reading aloud adventure. So just to demonstrate, I pulled a book from my bookshelf that is to be read still, The Demon of Unrest by Erik Larson, who is an author that I enjoy a great deal. And I turn to the opening passage of the book. Let me just read the first several sentences, and as you read, see what you notice as it goes past. The oars were audible before the boat came into view, this despite a noisy wind that coarsened the waters of the bay. It was very late on a black night. The rain, according to one account, fell in torrents, and the wind howled weird-like and drearily. In recent weeks, the weather had been erratic, seductively vernal one day, bone-rackingly cold the next. One morning, there was snow. For a week, a strong gale had scoured the coast. So there's a lot to notice, even in those first several sentences. I noticed that it began with the sounds of the oars. So this language put me immediately into the setting of the opening scene of the book. Sound does, a noisy wind, and I can just feel the wind coarsening the waters. And then comes a very simple, short sentence. It was very late on a black night. Short words, almost all one syllable. And then in the next sentence, he brings in a quote from someone else. So we hear a different voice talking about the wind howling weird like and drearily. That sounds like the voice of a different era. That's not something people say these days. And then he goes on to the weather being seductively vernal and bone-rackingly cold. He's actually giving us a weather report using this poetic figurative language. There's also a lot of the long O sound in this first sentence, and later on too. The oars, the boat, noisy wind that coarsened the water. Later on, we've got bone-racking cold, and one morning there was snow. There's internal rhyming happening here, which may be completely inadvertent, but it does land on our ears. So what we have here is Erik Larson doing what he does so very, very well, which is taking historical facts and making them immediate and making them interesting. And by changing the sentence structures, he's giving us complicated ideas, but then also just helping us sit with them. So I see so much going on in this opening, and I hear so much going on in this opening passage that I find things that I'd like to try out in my own language. What if I could take some simple facts and make them really poetic and interesting? What if I look for the patterns and data and somehow present them as a story? So you can see here the kinds of things that we can learn by reading with our ears really attuned to what's going on. So try this. Maybe you'll detect internal rhymes. Maybe you'll detect rhythm or certain consonants that appear all the time. Maybe you'll trip over words, and that would be interesting too. But try this with different books that you like and make a note of the things that you might like to try.